Microphone check, 1, 2, what is this? It's the 5'7" assassin in the podcast business. I am your host, Rohan Patra, the Rap Music Plug at your service. The Rap Music Plug podcast presented by QLC TV is the remedy to the I don't have anything good to listen to problem. Through in-depth album and song reviews, as well as artist interviews and general rap commentary sprinkled in between on all of what the mainstream and underground rap scenes have to offer, this is your one-stop shop to knowing what to add to your queue, play next, or pop into your record player. Welcome to the show. What is up, family? One of my favorite aspects of having this show is when I get to introduce people to a fantastic new artist. And the artist I want to talk about today is Cities Aviv, who is definitely not new, but he's an artist that was new to me, as he was an artist that was introduced to me through my exploration into Memphis rapper Lukah's music this year, whose amazing recent record I reviewed, and who I interviewed earlier last month. And just like Lukah, Cities is one of the best musical discoveries I've had in a long time. From Memphis as well, Cities has been making cutting-edge hip-hop music for the past decade. First being introduced to Cities via the production side of things with his work with Lukah, his brand of experimentation was special from the moment I first heard it, incorporating such a large diversity of sounds into a very one-of-a-kind experience. The part of Cities' artistry that did take me some time to get accustomed to, though, is his very downtrodden rapping style. Even on some of his most recent work, where maybe I wasn't in love with the sparse rapping moments on the record, the openness, though, and the thoughtfulness and poetry in his lyrics was something I always appreciated. Therefore, going into this latest record, the crashing sound of how it goes, I was hoping to get this same brand of experimentation along with a larger and more refined lyrical presence. Something closer to his 2011 Digital Lows album that saw his raps play a larger role, but still bringing that very high art, ultra poetic style that he's adopted on his recent releases. What we eventually got, though, on the crashing sound of how it goes is something I was genuinely not prepared for. This album is like a bowl of Lucky Charms, with every single bite being that perfect mix of cereal and marshmallow charms. Notice how I didn't say the album was just consistent bites of just the marshmallows. And that's because this album has a beautiful balance to it, walking the tightrope between a lot of variety of different moods and textures, that it never sounds too sweet, too cold, or too abrasive. There are elements of cold ambient atmosphere, dusty tape hiss, abrasive noise, raw samples, a lot of bright soul, psychedelia, but all of it is balanced and synthesized and honed into one seamless wavelength of sound. The album is so vibrant and exudes the color and the life that this beautiful artwork would suggest it has. These beats just truly have a life of their own. On this idea of balance, for all of the bright and psychedelic, sometimes groovy and noisy moments, there are several more subtle and atmospheric and melancholy moments with a more nighttime feel to it, like Lights Out's 80s key-infused and throwback R&B vocal sampled track, and the latter half of Iron Theatrics that is mesmerizing and almost hypnotizing in its beauty. We then move to Walk Across the Mezzanine, which is a song that made it abundantly clear that Cities was special. This song is truly a work of art. The track starts off with this hazy, woozy groove with an incredibly warm mixing quality to it. Then there's these woodwinds that are layered in the background. And then about midway through the track, the instrumental gives us a pump fake to this jazz bop transition that you assume is going to come. But then immediately just leaves and goes back to the main beat again, as if you were walking by a car playing that song loudly with their windows open and then just kept on walking. And oh shit, now that I think of it, that actually explains the title of this song, Walk Across the Mezzanine. This teased jazz transition was like a mezzanine playing the music that we legit just walked by. Man, like, it doesn't even really matter, honestly, if I'm full of shit and if Cities was going for this or not, because that visual and almost narrative like illustration that just magically manifested inside of my brain is everything. This is exactly why music is so sacred and special. And then to top it off, the ending of this track with its acid rock climax with this dope fuzzy guitar solo was just unbelievable. I would love to know if that was live recorded or if it was a sample, because my god, it just fit so incredibly. And then there's the ambience of one of the most beautiful songs I've heard in a long time, in Face Pressed Against the Glass, which was certainly a highlight, sounding like a hip-hop producer's take on a Virgin's era Tim Hecker song, as the minimalist and classical piano feeling instrumental resonated with me in a very special way. Although this is certainly a rap album and not just a beat tape, there are also many instrumental moments without lyrics from Cities, but instead feature sampled lyrics that are so engaging that it feels like they were recorded for this song and this song only. The ridiculously infectious vocal sample on I'ma Stay Here that I swear to God I could listen to and sing along with forever. And I love how it transitions to the next track, which is a beautiful slice of vocal butter that is Near You, an irresistibly sunshiny love song. All in all, no matter what sound gets thrown into the listener's eardrum on this album, Cities never upsets this delicate mixture of vibes, and it all fits and never lulls or ever falls off. It's such a consistently brilliant musical album. Cities rapping here really puts this album over the top. I always appreciated Cities' lyricism, but the flows and the larger focus he put on lyrics on this album in comparison to some of his previous work was an absolute highlight. It's not like lyrically Cities is, good for a producer rapper. He's legit good. His lyrics are often strikingly emotional and introspective, seeing Cities pour out his innermost thoughts and demons to the listener. Higher Up There speaks on seizing the day and speaks on death in a beautiful manner. A Piece of Me is a shining moment of sheer vulnerability. And then we have Talking to the Flowers. Man, this song, Cities channels his inner Killah Priest, giving his rendition of the Bible acronym hook that Priest famously did on Liquid Swords, and it blew me away. How all these lyrics are set atop this instrumental that feels like a warm hug with these delicate guitar licks throughout, and how it all ends with this heart-wrenching vocal sample weaved in at the end. Like, Jesus Christ, it's beautiful. And again here, me trying to focus on the lyrics, but I find myself saying something about the music behind them. And that actually brings me to a really interesting point about this album, in that I don't fully register all the time when Cities is actually rapping on a track. Like, my mind doesn't recollect if I'm looking back at a song, whether it was a vocal sample going on in that or whether it was actually Cities rapping. And this isn't meant to be a knock in the slightest, actually. It actually speaks to how well incorporated the lyricism is on this album. His vocals are not only sharp, but they tend to fit so snugly within these instrumental tapestries that Cities has built, and it's phenomenal. Cities just knows exactly how to sound and how to flow on these beats, like how he captures the hazy, groggy nature of the Walking Through the Mezzanine beat, or how he catches the funky rhythms in I'ma Stay Here and just absolutely obliterates the track and makes it so enjoyable. All this being said, I still would like just a bit more of a lyrical presence on this album. And also, I would like him to explore his lyricism and rapping even more. Not only is it my personal preference to hear more of this lyricism, but it's also a very big strength of City's. Also, I'd say that although the raps fit with the instrumentals perfectly, and that lyrically he's much more of a force on this record than ever before, sometimes he does use this very loose style that is filled with great poetry, but for my liking flow-wise, I think he could incorporate more of a traditional tempo from time to time because he really kills it when he does. And sometimes I find the vocal effects that he puts on his lyrics to be sometimes a bit excessive at times. His overall vocal approach is very fitting for the subject matter, though, and I acknowledge that it's definitely by design, but otherwise, I tend to prefer just a bit more of a straightforward rapping performance kind of sprinkled in here to give the lyrics a bit more of a tangible feel to them. So if we move to like the overall message of this album, I think it's really interesting. The title, the crashing sound of how it goes, suggests to me that this album was intended to represent the full spectrum of emotions we go through as human beings. Love, longing, sadness, confusion, etc. The So It Goes part of the title, I think, shows a frank and honest understanding that life isn't one or the other. The crashing part of this title, I feel, represents how all of these emotions and ideas collide like a jambalaya of so many things at once. Because the album as a whole, just like life in general, is everything in between. It's never black and white. And I think this idea is well communicated throughout the music's sound and its lyricism, which again, going back to that idea of balance, manages to throw so much at you while never overdoing one specific element. The way Cities was able to crystallize such a weighty set of ideas is truly spectacular. There are very few albums that make you feel something as much as this album does. So I absolutely love this album, and I give it a mid-8, one of the absolute best albums this year. These artists coming out of Memphis, man, you do not want to be caught slipping. You do not want to be caught sleeping on some of the greatest talent that's coming out of rap right now. So you need to check this album out, but don't let me be the only one to tell you just how incredible this album is. Listen to what Lukah had to say when I interviewed him last month.
That album that he just dropped is a fucking classic. It's not just a Memphis classic, it's a classic. I wanted to go on record that joint is one of the illest projects ever created. And I'm not just saying that because that's my homie. You know what I mean? Like, I love that fucking project.
So this concludes today's episode of the Rap Music Plug podcast presented by QLC TV. I hope this episode gave you some fresh new perspectives on the latest rap releases, as well as a recommendation for the next great rap record to add to your collection. If you're an artist looking to level up your career, getting more gigs, album sales, merch sales, whatever it may be, I would love to help you with that by providing you artist development and writing services. So if you're interested, contact me via email at qlctv.podcast@gmail.com or hit me up via Twitter or Instagram at Rohview, ROHVIEW. I would be honored to lend my expertise and help you grow your career as an artist. And also for regular rap fans that just want to hear more quality commentary on the genre, follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well. For exclusive content and updates related to the show, follow the Rap Music Plug podcast on Facebook to help the show grow and ensure that everyone's listening to the best rap music at all times. Follow the show on the podcast platform of your choice. Make sure you leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts so that the show can be spotlighted by that wonderful algorithm and be exposed to more people. You can find all of this information along with exclusive playlists created by myself by clicking the link that's in the episode's notes. So that's all for today. Talk to you soon. Peace.